What if I told you the very thing you keep worrying about is the exact reason it still isn't working out? Think about it. How many times have you sat there, replaying the same thought in your head, going over every possible outcome, and convincing yourself that by worrying about it, somehow you're keeping control? But here's the truth. Worrying doesn't solve the problem. It magnifies it. The more energy you give to fear, the bigger it feels, and the more power it takes from you. It's like carrying a backpack full of bricks every single day, and then wondering why life feels so heavy. When you obsess over something, you're actually pushing it further away. Worry creates tension, and tension blocks flow. It's like trying to hold on to water with a clenched fist. The tighter you squeeze, the more it slips through your fingers. And that's exactly what happens with opportunities, relationships, and even peace of mind. The more you grip, the more you lose. Now, here's the shocking part. Life doesn't reward worrying, it rewards trust. The moment you let go of that constant cycle of what ifs, something changes. Suddenly you see possibilities you were blind to before. Suddenly solutions come to you with less effort. And sometimes things you are chasing actually start coming towards you. The world has a strange way of aligning itself when you stop forcing, when you stop stressing, and when you stop trying to predict every possible outcome. Worry doesn't keep you safe, it keeps you stuck. But when you loosen that grip, when you stop feeding fear, life has space to move, and that's when things begin to fall into place. Almost like magic, but really it's just freedom. Relatable pain point. We've all been there, lying awake at night staring at the ceiling, mind racing through every possible scenario. You tell yourself you'll just think about it for a few minutes, but hours go by and sleep never comes. Your body feels tired, but your brain refuses to shut down. You replay conversations in your head, you imagine the worst case outcomes, and you keep asking yourself questions that don't have answers. And the crazy part, even when you wake up the next morning, nothing has changed. The problem is still there, and now you're just exhausted on top of it. Worrying is like being trapped in a loop you can't escape. You overthink every detail, every move, every possibility. You analyze what could go wrong 100 times, but rarely stop to imagine what could go right. And in that constant cycle of what if, you end up paralyzing yourself. Instead of moving forward, you stay stuck, waiting, overanalyzing, second-guessing every single decision. It's a heavy feeling, isn't it? Worry doesn't just sit in your head, it lives in your body too. Your chest feels tight, your stomach twists, your shoulders stay tense as if you're carrying invisible weight. And then you wonder why you're drained, why you can't focus, why even the simplest tasks feel overwhelming. It's because worrying robs you of energy you could have used to actually change things. Everyone has experienced that moment where worry takes over so much that you stop living in the present. You're physically here, but mentally you're somewhere else, lost in future problems that haven't even happened yet. And if we're honest, most of those problems never do happen. Yet we've lived them already in our minds 100 times, suffering through stress that wasn't even real. That's the trap of worry. It convinces you that you're being productive, that by thinking it through endlessly you're preparing yourself. But deep down you know it's not true. Worry doesn't prepare you, it drains you. It makes you feel stuck in quicksand. The harder you struggle, the deeper you sink. And that's why almost everyone can relate to this cycle. We've all carried that invisible burden, and we all know how heavy it gets when you don't put it down. Introduce the core idea. Here's the truth. Most people don't realize until they've exhausted themselves with stress. Life doesn't start moving forward when you obsess and try to control everything. It starts moving when you finally let go. The more you cling to fear, the more you keep yourself stuck. But the moment you loosen that grip, things begin to align almost on their own. It's not because the world suddenly changes, but because you do. Your mind clears, your perspective shifts, and you're no longer blocking the flow of possibilities with constant doubt and tension. Think about it like this: when you're holding on too tightly, you're not allowing space for anything new to enter. Fear locks you into one outcome. You become so focused on how things should go that you don't notice the better path right in front of you. But when you stop clinging, when you breathe and trust that life has a rhythm beyond your control, you open yourself up to more. Opportunities that seemed invisible start showing themselves. Solutions you couldn't think of while panicking suddenly make sense. And people who can help you or support you seem to appear at just the right time. Life has a natural flow, but worry interrupts it. Fear makes you swim against the current, exhausting yourself without ever moving closer to where you want to be. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring, it means you stop fighting the current. You stop demanding that everything happen exactly when and how you want, and instead you allow things to unfold. That's when alignment happens. It's not about blind faith or doing nothing, it's about trust. Trust that as long as you're taking steps, the rest will meet you halfway. Trust that you don't need to control every detail for things to work out. And trust that fear doesn't have to be the driver of your life. The core idea is simple but powerful. When you release control and stop feeding fear, you give life space to surprise you. And often what falls into place is even better than what you were desperately trying to force. That's when things truly begin to align. Effort feels lighter, progress feels natural, and peace starts to replace panic. Why worry doesn't work? Worry feels like you're doing something, but in reality you're not moving anywhere. It's like running on a treadmill. You sweat, you struggle, you get exhausted, but at the end of the day you're standing in the exact same spot. That's the trap of worry. It tricks your mind into believing you're preparing for the future, when all you're really doing is draining yourself in the present. When you worry, you're rehearsing problems that haven't even happened. You play out scenarios in your head, you imagine failures, betrayals, and disasters that may never come true. And while your brain is busy living those fake futures, your real life is passing you by. Worry doesn't protect you from pain, it just makes you experience it early, over and over again before it even arrives. And most of the time it never does. The reason worry doesn't work is because it doesn't change the outcome, it only changes you, and not for the better. It makes you more tired, more stressed, and less capable of actually dealing with challenges when they come. Think about it: how many times have you worried for days or weeks only to find out the situation turned out fine? All that energy, all those sleepless nights for nothing. Worry didn't fix it, it just robbed you of peace. Another problem with worry is that it blocks action. When you're too busy overthinking, you hesitate. You second guess every step. You get stuck in what's called analysis paralysis, where you're so caught up in possible outcomes that you never actually take one. And because of that, opportunities slip away. Not because you weren't capable, but because you let worry hold the wheel. Here's the irony: the things that actually move life forward, focus, action, consistency, are the very things worry steals from you. Worry is like burning fuel while your car is still in park. The engine roars, the gas depletes, but you're not going anywhere. This is why worry doesn't work. It feels busy, it feels important, but it leaves you standing still. The truth is, worrying doesn't prepare you for the future, it only steals the peace you could have had in the present. And until you let go of it, you'll always feel like you're running without ever getting anywhere. The illusion of control. One of the biggest reasons people hold on to worry is because it creates an illusion of control. Deep down you think that by worrying you're preparing yourself. You believe that by running through every possible outcome in your head you'll somehow be ready for anything. It feels like a shield. If you expect the worst, you won't be caught off guard. But the truth is that shield isn't protecting you, it's trapping you. Worrying convinces you that you're doing something useful, but it's just mental noise. You go over the same thought again and again, but nothing changes in the real world. You're not solving the problem, you're just living in it twice. Once in your imagination, and once if it ever actually happens. And most of the time it never does. Here's the harsh reality: worrying doesn't make you more prepared, it just makes you more drained. By the time a challenge does come your way, you're already exhausted from fighting battles in your head. Instead of meeting the situation with calm, clear thinking, you meet it tired and scattered, because you've already spent all your energy on what-ifs. The illusion of control is dangerous because it keeps you stuck in the same place. You feel like you're being productive, but really you're avoiding the very actions that could move you forward. You're so busy planning for every possible disaster that you don't take the small simple steps that actually matter. And the longer you stay in that cycle, the more powerless you feel. Control is addictive, it makes you but life doesn't work that way. No amount of worrying will stop unexpected things from happening. The only thing you can truly control is how you respond when they do. And here's the irony, the less you cling to control, the more free and capable you actually feel. The truth is worry isn't control, it's a cage. It limits your vision, it drains your energy, and it convinces you that fear is the only way to stay safe. But the moment you see through that illusion, you realize something powerful. You don't need worry to be prepared. What you need is presence, clarity, and trust. And none of those can exist in a mind that's chained by fear. What happens when you let go? Something incredible happens. The moment you let go of constant worrying, you start to feel lighter. It's almost like putting down a heavy bag you didn't even realize you were carrying. Your mind clears, your chest feels open, and suddenly there's space for new thoughts, new ideas, and even new opportunities. Letting go doesn't mean you don't care, and it doesn't mean you're giving up. It means you're choosing to stop living in fear, and that choice creates peace. When you stop overthinking every detail, your brain finally gets the freedom to focus on what truly matters. Instead of replaying the same fears, you start seeing possibilities. Instead of drowning in what-ifs, you begin noticing solutions. Worry narrows your vision. It makes you see only danger, but letting go widens it. You begin to see options, paths, and opportunities you couldn't see before because your mind was clouded with noise. And here's the beautiful part: life often starts working better the moment you stop forcing it. The relationships you were gripping too tightly either fall away or grow stronger in their own natural rhythm. The opportunities you were chasing sometimes come back around without effort. Even your body responds, your stress eases, your sleep improves, your energy returns. Letting go gives both your mind and body the chance to reset. It also changes the way you carry yourself. People can sense the difference between someone who's tense and someone who's calm. When you're not consumed by fear, you radiate confidence without even trying. And that confidence attracts the very things you once thought you had to chase. It's almost like life starts meeting you halfway the moment you stop running after it desperately. Letting go creates alignment because it puts you back in flow with life's natural rhythm. You're no longer swimming against the current, wasting energy. Instead, you're allowing yourself to be carried forward, making progress with far less effort. And often things start falling into place in ways you couldn't have planned or controlled. That's the power of letting go. It clears the path, opens doors, and invites peace. And when peace enters, clarity and results always follow. Real life example. Let me give you a simple example that shows how powerful letting go can be. There was a young man who had just graduated and was desperate to land his first real job. Every single day he woke up with knots in his stomach, checked his email 100 times, and stressed over every little detail of his applications. He rewrote his resume so many times that he lost track, spent nights overthinking his interviews, and constantly compared himself to others on social media. The more he worried, the worse he performed because he walked into every interview nervous, drained, and second-guessing himself. Months went by and nothing was working out. One day, out of pure exhaustion, he decided he couldn't keep living like that. Instead of obsessing, he told himself, "I'll keep applying, but I won't spend my entire life stressing about it." He stopped refreshing his inbox every 5 minutes. He gave himself time to breathe, to enjoy small things like going out with friends or reading a book without guilt. For the first time, he wasn't controlled by worry. What happened next was surprising. In his very next interview, he showed up calmer, lighter, and more present. Instead of rehearsing every single answer in his head, he just talked like himself. He laughed, he connected, and for once he wasn't desperate. He was confident. The interviewers felt that difference instantly. A week later he got the call he had been waiting for. The job was his. Looking back he realized something powerful. The opportunities had always been there, but his own stress and fear were getting in the way. The moment he let go of the pressure, everything shifted. He didn't magically stop caring. He still wanted the job, but by releasing the constant stress he finally gave himself the space to succeed. And that's the thing about letting go. It doesn't mean giving up. It means creating room for life to work with you instead of against you. When you loosen your grip, doors you thought were locked suddenly start to open, and often they open with far less effort than you ever imagined. Shift in mindset. Letting go doesn't mean pretending your problems don't exist or sitting back while life happens around you. It's not about being careless or avoiding responsibility. The real shift in mindset is moving from fear-driven control to trust-driven action. Instead of obsessing over every possible outcome, you choose to trust the timing of your life and put your energy into the steps you can actually take. Think of it this way. When you're consumed by worry, your actions come from fear. You send that text because you're afraid of being forgotten. You rush into decisions because you're terrified of missing out. You overwork yourself because you're scared of failing. Every move becomes a reaction to fear, not a choice rooted in clarity. But when you shift your mindset, something powerful happens. Your actions start coming from a place of trust and focus. You move forward not because you're scared of what might go wrong, but because you believe in what might go right. Trusting timing doesn't mean sitting around waiting for a miracle. It means understanding that not everything has to happen right this second. Some doors open later for a reason. Some opportunities take time to grow. And instead of wasting your energy stressing about why it's not happening yet, you put that energy into preparing yourself, improving your skills, building your character, and being ready when the timing is right. The shift also means focusing on what you can control. You can't force someone to like you, but you can show up as your best self. You can't guarantee success tomorrow, but you can give your best effort today. You can't predict every twist of life, but you can control how you respond to it. That's real power. That's freedom. When you stop fueling fear and start choosing trust, you notice how different life feels. Stress turns into patience. Panic turns into clarity. And instead of feeling like you're constantly behind, you start feeling like you're exactly where you're meant to be. This is a mindset shift that changes everything. It doesn't erase challenges, but it makes you stronger, calmer, and far more capable of facing them head-on. Benefits of not worrying. The moment you stop feeding worry, your entire life begins to feel different. The first and most obvious benefit is your mental health. Anxiety, overthinking, and sleepless nights start to fade when you learn to release control. Your mind finally has space to rest, and that calmness shows up in everything you do. Instead of waking up already tired and drained, you wake up lighter, with more energy to actually live your day instead of just surviving it. Another huge benefit is clarity. Worry clouds your thinking, but when you let it go, your focus sharpens. Decisions become easier because you're no longer running through 1,000 what-ifs. You can finally see the bigger picture without fear distorting it. With that kind of clarity, your creativity grows. New ideas flow in because your mind isn't stuck in survival mode. Instead of only imagining what could go wrong, you start imagining what could go right. That's where solutions, opportunities, and innovation are born. Not worrying also improves your relationships. Think about it. When you're always stressed and anxious, you can't be fully present with the people around you. You're distracted, distant, or even snappy without meaning to be. But when you carry less fear, you show up differently. You listen better, you connect deeper, and people feel safer around you. Trust replaces tension, and relationships begin to feel lighter and stronger. On top of that, your productivity naturally improves. Worry is draining. It eats away at the energy you could be using to take real action. Without it weighing you down, you get more done in less time. And not just busy work, but meaningful progress. You act with confidence instead of hesitation, and that momentum compounds. Even your physical health benefits. Less worry means less stress hormones, which means better sleep, more energy, and even a stronger immune system. Your body literally thanks you for letting go. In the end, the benefits of not worrying touch every corner of your life. Peace of mind, sharper focus, more creativity, stronger connections, and a healthier body. All of that starts with one choice: refusing to let fear run your life. And once you taste that freedom, you'll never want to go back. Practical steps. So the big question is, how do you actually stop worrying? It's not as simple as snapping your fingers, but there are practical steps you can start using today that will make a real difference. The first step is breathing. It sounds basic, but most people forget how powerful it is. When worry takes over, your breathing gets shallow and fast, which makes your body feel like it's in danger. Slowing down your breath, deep inhales through your nose, slow exhales through your mouth, tells your nervous system to calm down. Even 2 minutes of focused breathing can pull you out of panic and bring you back into the present. Another tool is journaling. When your thoughts are spinning in your head, they feel 10 times heavier. Writing them down takes away their power. It turns the chaos in your mind into something you can see on paper. And once it's on paper, it's easier to sort through what's real, what's exaggerated, and what's not even in your control. Journaling doesn't just release worry, it creates clarity. Shifting your thoughts is another powerful step. Worry thrives on what if everything goes wrong, but you can consciously flip the script. Ask yourself, what if it goes right? What if this problem is actually leading me to something better? Training your mind to see possibility instead of doom takes practice, but every time you do it, you weaken worry's grip. Then there's focusing on what you can control. Worry is usually about the things you can't control: other people's choices, the future, the unknown. But you always have control over your effort, your attitude, and your response. Make a small list each day of the things you can act on and give your energy to those. Everything else, let it go. And don't forget small grounding practices like going for a walk, spending time in nature, or even disconnecting from your phone for a while. These simple shifts remind you that life is bigger than the problem in your head. The point isn't to never worry again, that's impossible. The point is to catch yourself, use these tools, and return to peace faster each time. With practice, you'll find that worry doesn't control you anymore. You control how much space it gets in your life. Closing reflection, emotional. The moment you stop fighting life, life starts working with you. Think about that for a second. So much of our stress, our frustration, and our endless worry comes from resisting what is. We fight against timing. We fight against circumstances. We fight against uncertainty, as if battling life will somehow bend it to our will. But the truth is, the more you fight, the more stuck you feel. Life isn't meant to be controlled like a machine. It flows like a river, and the harder you try to swim against it, the more exhausted you become. But when you let go, when you trust the current, you realize it was always carrying you where you needed to go. That's when alignment happens, not through struggle but through surrender. Letting go doesn't mean you stop trying. It doesn't mean you give up on your goals, your dreams, or the things that matter to you. It simply means you stop letting fear be the driver. You still move, but you move with trust instead of panic. You still act, but you act from clarity instead of chaos. And in that state, you'll notice how life begins to respond to you differently. Opportunities seem to appear out of nowhere. The relationships you were forcing either naturally fade or grow stronger on their own. The doors you kept banging on suddenly open, not because you pushed harder but because you stopped pushing so desperately. You gave life room to move things into place for you. There's a quiet strength in surrender. It's not weakness, it's wisdom. It's knowing when to hold on and when to release, when to push forward and when to trust the timing. And that wisdom is what frees you from the endless cycle of worry. So remember this: the battles in your head are often heavier than the battles in real life. When you stop fighting everything, when you stop gripping fear so tightly, you discover peace you didn't know you were missing. And with that peace comes power. The power to see clearly, to act wisely, and to allow life to unfold in ways better than you ever imagined. That is when everything truly starts falling into place. Now I want to turn this back to you, because this isn't just about listening, it's about reflecting. Think about your own life for a moment.
What's the one thing you're finally ready to stop worrying about? Is it your career, your relationships, money, or maybe it's something as simple as how people see you? Whatever it is, I want you to put it in the comments below. Not just for me but for yourself. Writing it down is a small but powerful step. It's like telling your mind, I don't need to carry this weight anymore. And you'll be surprised how freeing it feels to put it into words. When you share, you're not only helping yourself, you might be giving courage to someone else who's watching this video and silently struggling with the exact same thing. Sometimes we don't realize how much our stories connect us, and your comment could be the spark that helps someone else finally let go too. And if this message spoke to you, if it gave you even a little peace or a new perspective, then make sure to hit that subscribe button, because this channel is all about helping you step out of fear, quiet the noise, and live with more clarity and confidence. Each video is here to remind you that you're not alone, that you have more strengths than you realize, and that life doesn't have to feel so heavy. So go ahead, share your reflection in the comments, and then subscribe if you're ready to keep going with me. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next.